Hello? Well, this seems to work to a certain extent, but only on one channel, and you know what? That's absolutely fine. Hello, Iain Lee. Does that do it? No, that doesn't matter at all. So welcome to another Iain Lee versus Radio, the podcast that doesn't quite know what it is yet. In fact, it's not anything at the moment. It's just me. Why is that only coming out in mono? It doesn't really matter. Because I'll mix it down anyway. It doesn't matter. The podcast that doesn't really know what it is at the moment, and it will evolve into something maybe, or it might quietly fade away like all of the other podcasts, what I've done over time. Speaking of podcasts, the BBC podcast has had nearly 500,000 downloads since it started, which is pretty groovy. And speaking of BBC podcasts, I've had loads of people saying, well, why don't you do a WM podcast? The Three County Show gets podcast, why not the WM? I'm not allowed to. I've looked into it. I'm not allowed to. Strangely, I've been told I'm only allowed to have one podcast. And then there was kind of talk of combining the WM with the 3CR podcast. And I didn't want that to happen because it's like, as I said to someone on Twitter, it's like having a Coronation Street EastEnders omnibus. It's two kind of similar things, but they're different enough that I don't really want them to be mixed up. So I'm just turning the level up a bit. So that's why it's not happening. Anyway, it's Monday night. I'm absolutely knackered. I'm just going to send a little tweet out to say I'm recording a podcast. If anyone's got any questions, then get in touch. You can also email me stuff as well, questions and things, and iain@iainlee.com. I don't always reply, not out of rudeness or arrogance. Sometimes they don't warrant a reply, and sometimes I just forget. I'm really crappy at replying to emails. Saying that, though, a guy called, is it Neil? Yeah, it's Neil. Neil has got the concept of the Iain Lee versus Radio, the live show. And basically, it's 90 minutes with an interval, 90 minutes plus an interval, wow, of me talking about working in radio, how I got into radio, and playing some clips of some of the funniest bits from radio, but bits that weren't necessarily meant to be funny. And Neil has sent me a brilliant clip that I hadn't heard before from Talk Sport. And I was going to put it in this podcast, and now I'm thinking I might use it in the show, actually. I'm kind of toying with the idea of using it in the show because it's very, very funny, and I hadn't heard it before. So I might do. We'll see. Thank you, Neil, for that. It's a cracker. So, yeah, there's some audio clips. There's a couple of videos. There's some animations that people have made for me. It's not stand-up. I've got to stress, this live show, it's not stand-up at all. I don't know what it is. You know, it's just kind of me talking and stuff. Anyway, it's Monday evening. I'm knackered. These early mornings, it's coming up to 3 years of doing the breakfast show. And I did a TV show years ago called Rise that was kind of the follow-up to The Big Breakfast. And I loved it. And no one watched it until right towards the end when it started getting really good reviews. I remember Vic and Bob wrote a brilliant review where they said they loved it, they loved me, and they thought I was like the English, lanky, skinny Clint Eastwood. Yeah. And that involved getting up at 3:15, I think. Also getting paid a shitload more money. I got, do I tell you? I think I've said this elsewhere. I got $4,000 a week for that. I've never earned anything like it before or since. Trust me. And I didn't know what I had at the time. I wasted it, you know. I wasted it and blew it and was an idiot. There you go. These things happen. But after that, I vowed I would never do a breakfast show again. And now I'm in the third year of doing a breakfast show, reaching the end of 3 years. And I'm knackered. And I love it. I love the people that I work with, Catherine and Kelly and Justin, brilliant. My boss is just an absolute delight. She lets me get away with murder. If I did do a murder on the radio, she'd say, "Oh, Ian, I wish you hadn't done that, but we'll sort it out." She is... She's a legend and a rarity in the BBC and in BBC local radio in particular, which is generally a very scared environment and doesn't want to tread on anybody's toes. There is some amazing stuff on BBC local radio, amazing stuff. There's also, a lot of crap, and I think my boss Laura has got it sussed, really. There was a point to this. Oh yeah, I'm knackered. Love it. I love the show. Most of the time, it's just that alarm going off at 3:56. Oh, fucking hell! And the rest of the day, I'm just shagged. And I don't know how much longer I can keep doing a breakfast show for. Really. It's not a sustainable lifestyle, and I'm kind of going through one of those things of thinking, well, is the show any good? And I'm not saying this because I want tweets of praise or emails. I won't see them. I might get 100 tweets saying, "Oh, you're brilliant." The Wendy Rose and the anonymous dude on the BBC Three Counters listeners Facebook page who listened to the show but hated, slag it, and that's fine. But, anyway, they'll listen to this and whatever. So, yeah, I'm just kind of doubting my powers and my abilities, and, I kind of think the show hits a groove and the WM show hits a groove, and then you sort of get a bit of a knock to your confidence, and you think, well, maybe, it does stick out like a sore thumb on BBC local radio. Maybe people do want Wally Webb. Maybe people do want, but what was the year? Maybe people do want me to do a phone-in about should Muslims be more integrated in society, and should we bring back hanging, and what sweets do you remember from the 70s? I don't know. Those things kind of go against me. But tell me, where else is there I could go? There's nowhere. Really, the only person doing anything like what I do at the moment is Nick Abbott on LBC, who is just a freaking genius, man. He's the only one doing something, as far as I can tell. If I'm missing it, let me know. The only one I know who's doing something that is out there and is different, man. The trick with Nick Abbott is he's like a Trojan horse. At first glimpse, it's not that different. But it really is unlike anything else on the radio at the moment. There are other radio presenters I think are brilliant. James O'Brien, when he's in his stride, is a mighty force to be reckoned with. I think he's amazing, and he's having a good run at the moment. Can I be controversial? I'm not that mad on Mystery Hour. And I know people love it, and I know I'm in the minority, but I really like it. And I listen to it, I say I'm not that mad on it. I mean, compared to his other stuff, I like it. But I like it when he's having a Barney with an idiot caller. When an idiot... I don't know what that noise was. When an idiot caller calls up thinking they're going to take him apart, and O'Brien just very subtly, sometimes not quite so subtly actually, just smashes into them and displays that they're an idiot. Those two are my favourites at the moment. I like Nick Ferrari. I know, controversial. Clive Ball. I'll always love Clive Ball. Clive Ball is, is kind of, he's sort of one of my mentors. Really, he's my on-air mentor, and I've just got so much love for him. I think he's brilliant. Who else? Notice they're all from LBC. Who else? Well, in American radio, I've discovered this amazing station, WFMU, right? And it's like I don't understand it. I've tried to. It's kind of like an independent radio station. Then they have a spin-off which is called something like Hear the Drummer or something. I don't really understand it, right? All I know is there is a woman called Amanda Nazario, You can follow her on Twitter at Amnaz, AMNAZZ. AMNAZZ. And she does a brilliant program called Nazario Scenario, right? It's fucking brilliant. It is nuts. Doesn't really speak a lot. She speaks a bit. But she plays the most eclectic load of music I've ever heard. And it's brilliant. Brilliant. And you can hear the crackle of the vinyl. You can hear it's wonderful. Can't praise that show enough. Go and listen to it online because she's brilliant. And people like that need to be acknowledged. And I don't think there's anything like that in the UK. I don't think there's anything like that. It's my printer going off. In the UK. And she certainly inspired me quite a lot. Anyway, let's do some of these questions because I don't really know. I'm always recording these when I'm miserable. What's your favourite type of cheese and why, says Sam. Really? Come on, guys. Cheddar. Will there be any beatboxing in the live show, says Chris. You never know. Hey, Paul Danan. Are we going to make a comedy show together? Tell me where and when. I'm going to tweet him that. Tell me where and when, brother. It's odd that I know Paul Danan, but I do. I met him through a friend of a friend or something. I don't even remember. And he is Paul Danan's become a bit of a joke, and I can understand why. He's one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. Such a nice guy, and he's a troubled soul. He's had his issues, and I hope to God he sorts them out because he really is. He's such a nice boy. The Hounds says, "Are you at all bitter that Barry from Watford has slide off with epithemio, or are you still friends?" No, do you know what? I've not heard their podcast, which is odd because I like Angelos and I also like Barry from Watford. I think they're both brilliant. Adrian says, "Tony Blackburn, as nice as he always says." Oh, Tony Blackburn. I mean, that guy is a legend, and he likes my show, I've been told. And the 15-year-old geek in me, he works on 6 radio stations, and he's what is he? He's got to be like 83, 86, something like that. The man is a legend. He's such a nice bloke, so nice. I love him. Com says, "Are you still mates with Daisy?" I haven't seen her since the 11 o'clock show finished. What's the most common source of conflict between you and Salome? We haven't had any yet. Grumpy Jamie says, "Name the worst person you've worked with." In what context, Jamie? As in interviewing a celebrity? That would be Daniel Bedingfield. Or person that I've worked with that I didn't get on with? Well, if they're from behind the scenes, and I can think of one instantly, it's not really fair to mention them if they're not an on-air presence. But there was someone I've worked with in the last 4 years who we didn't click, and it didn't get unpleasant. I made sure we had a conversation, but we didn't click, and we disagreed on what radio was. I'm trying, any co-presenters or anything I didn't get on with. I mean, me and Daisy were never close. We were close to start with, and then that closeness dissipated quite quickly. Really, the 11 o'clock show was weird. We all very quickly, it started off as being one kind of, sort of creative group. And then very, very quickly, and I saw this happen and I thought, oh, well, that's the end of this then. All splintered off into separate groups. And kind of, at the start, we'd come into the office and say, hey, look what I filmed yesterday, or look what I'm going to film today. And then we kind of, it developed to a point where we all got a bit secretive about our stuff, and it all became individual projects. And I remember that happening and thinking, well, something special has gone here. We just lost something, which is a shame. Did Rob Burnett marry that hot Latino, or did he end up with Andre? Neil there is making a reference to the Absolute Radio show. Oh, by the way, because of this and because of your tweets and stuff, I had a nice little text chat with Eloise t'other day, and we should. Well, I keep saying we're going to meet up soon. We never do. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at being a friend. Really, I'm a bit of, as I said to Eloise, I'm a really shitty friend. I'm just not very good. Having friendships is like spinning plates. You've just got so many things, and I'm not very good at it. And I am shy, and I'm awkward, and I'm geeky, and I really like my own company. You know, I like sitting at home reading books in bed. So I'm rubbish at being a friend. So to all of my friends, and Adrian says, what do you think of what LBC have done to Clive Bull? Feels deliberate that they made his show the antithesis of what it was. What Clive can do that I can't do is he is a chameleon, and he can change his. He's changed his style so many times over. I mean, how long has he been there? 25 years, probably even longer. And he's changed his style so many times to fit in with what is required of him. And I can't do that, and that's why I never last more than 3 or 4 years at a radio station. He said as his contract comes up for renewal. I don't know what's going to happen. So no, and Clive is a legend, an absolute legend. He's a master of what he does. Right, I think that's all the questions. Really sorry, I record these things and I sound miserable. I know the last couple have sound miserable. I guess what I'm trying to strive with this is a level of honesty that that kind of has to be lacking from a breakfast show, because you don't really want me coming on going, oh man, I'm tired, oh I'm miserable, I'm dreading this live tour I'm going to do starting July the 8th in Maidenhead. iainlee.com if you want to see all of the dates. Swindon still not selling great. So maybe I'm too honest here. I don't know. No, I'm not actually, because I've still held quite a bit back. Will Obama appearing on Mark Maron's podcast encourage broadcast stations to allow innovation, or are they happy to stink with the ship? Broadcast radio in this country, I don't know who Mark Maron is. Sorry, I probably should, shouldn't I? I'm not sure who Obama is. Is pretty bollocks. Apart from the few exceptions I've mentioned, there ain't a lot going on. It's moribund, guys, and no one cares. They're all owned by the same companies. The BBC's too scared to do anything outrageous because they are being watched and because there is a Tory government. And commercials all owned by the same people, you know. Which is why you've got to find people like, Nazario Scenario in the States to get something exciting in music radio. So, up your bum. That's it. That's your lot. Still thinking this live tour is a terrible idea. Not sure where I belong in the world of radio. Not sure how long I can sustain this bollocks. Stay tuned, guys.